Hey, what's up, Hoosier fans? Welcome back. Another edition of Under the Hood with IU football off and running here, presented by your Central Indiana Ford dealers, a proud sponsor of IU football. Reminder to get out there and visit your local Central Indiana Ford dealer today. I'm Rhett Lewis. Excited to be back as we continue to work our way through this spring season for Indiana football and getting a chance to say hello once again to IU special teams coordinator, tight ends coach Grant Kane here with us. And Grant, man, I do have to apologize because I feel like I let us down collectively by not getting the placeholder acknowledged yet in the All Big Ten Awards postseason. But look, while it hasn't happened yet, we are still continuing down that path. Okay, I want you to let you know that I am not letting that out of my sights just yet.
Yeah, I think the NCAA has a lot bigger fish to fry right
I
now
would
than worried about a
imagine.
placeholder.
I would imagine they do, but it is an important piece of the operation, as you so know. Let's start right there with special teams for a moment. So many big plays coming with that unit, whether that was punt team, return game, field goals and extra points with that throughout this, historic season in your first year at IU. How do you look back on the impact that teams made overall on that CFP run in a historic season?
Yeah, certainly had some big plays, especially in the punt return game. We finished second to country in block punts and long punt returns. And anytime you can do that, you change the game. And anytime you can get people out of their seats, create some momentum, change the field position for your offense and defense, that's what we take pride in. And the effort was there. And then just like on offensive defense, there's two or three plays you like to have back. So there's always things to get better at. And that's our goal every game, play with great attitude, great effort, and create game-changing plays, but also be reliable at the same time.
When I think back, just to, and obviously you want to reinforce the positivity, but you want to learn from the things that didn't go your way, as you're talking about, right? So when you look back at, like, let's say the Ohio State game, right? With the punt team, and then you look back at the Michigan game where the punt return game set up a huge field goal that ended up being a big piece of the reason why you win that game. Like, are those things that you'll reference back to and talking about just how important these phases of the game can swing the outcome of a game?
Yeah, and I think our guys understand that, or they wouldn't have been as good as they were
Of course.
and do as many good things as they did. But you got to have the fundamentals right. You got to be able to do certain things correctly and execute and be at your best when your best is required. But we're never going to stop attacking, and our guys never start. I mean, our guys value special teams and in every regard, and our coaches, it comes from the coach down. Coach Signetti puts a huge emphasis on it every single week. Every single coach has a responsibility on special teams and has eyes on a single player every single time. So, great deal of emphasis on it. But those teachable moments, you got to learn from them. And like Coach always says, we're never affected by success or failure. We bounce back the next week and made some good plays. And you got to be able to do that throughout the ups and downs of the season.
Yeah, and look, when you look at personnel, obviously, you got a big change now coming at punter, and you bring in a punter and a kicker and a long snapper through the transfer portal. What goes into setting up a new piece and a new punter into let's just call it with that part of special teams? What are some of those things you're looking for, and what are some of the things that are important to you with that very important position?
Yeah, consistency and performance, a proven track record, reliability. You want to know what you're getting. And then, talent is a big piece of it, but talent isn't enough at this level. You need the intangibles. You got to have heart, grit, work ethic, toughness. You got to be coachable. The mindset right there. If you don't have it and if it's not right, that talent, you can acquire all the talent in the world, it goes to waste. They got to be able to fit into what we're doing and make the room better. And because, we want all 11 to be better, even on teams.
Sure. And, Coach, when you're talking about the transfer portal, obviously, you've got your eye on a bunch of tight ends as well, who we brought two in, to the fold this year. But when you're evaluating guys in the portal, are you evaluating guys based on, potential value they could bring to teams as well? Is that part of the discussion?
I think whether it's the NFL or
Yeah.
college, I mean, that's a huge part of it. I mean, if they can't help you on teams, where are they going to get their shot? Where are they going to get their opportunities to contribute? And the more run and hit guys you have, the more guys with size that can run you have, the better. And the more instinctual players you can have, they're going to help you on teams. A lot of defensive guys on teams, and you hardly ever see a team with a really good defense and not a really good special teams unit. I mean, they usually go hand in hand. There's good players out on the field. So I look at that when every guy we take, whether it's on offense and defense, how many special teams plays did he have? We'll watch those
Yeah.
plays, see where his value is, because you can't waste any time. You get them here in the spring portal, you got to put them on a unit and let's go. And some of
Yeah.
those guys may be starting day one on special teams, so they got to have some recollection of that position.
And I want to get to Holden and Riley as two of the newcomers for you here in just a moment. But looking also back on last year, felt like Zach in the tight end room, obviously as a whole, was such a big piece of the success on offense. How do you feel like that group and Zach kind of leading the way there helps set the foundation for what you want to build on with that tight end room here moving forward?
Yeah, Zach did a great job and really hard to replace, not just what he did on the field, but like you just
Yeah.
mentioned, all the things he did off the field. And that carries over. That's these kids' legacy. When they leave, the guys that are left behind, a guy like a James Bomba who was here
Yeah.
last year, I mean, I'm seeing the way that guy's working now, the way that guy's
Love that.
progressing and the changes he's made, whether it is in his body or his play. I think Zach deserves as much credit as anybody else, being a great example for him
Yeah.
and how he went about his daily business. So, Zach's legacy will last. And that's the same with all these guys that aren't here anymore. The work ethic, the stuff they put in every single day to get better, that's the legacy that you leave when you leave a program.
Yeah, no question. And so, I alluded to it with some of the newcomers to the room. How do you feel like they're fitting in? What do you expect to get out of them as we continue to progress here in spring ball?
Yeah, like I mentioned, super talented kids.
Yeah,
They got a huge upside, but it's so important to get them here in the spring because, like I said, you can be really talented, but you got to learn a whole new language. You got to learn a whole new offense, the nuances of the offense, and just so you can get back to playing fast and instinctual, which is what this game is all about. So, but they've got the right mindset. They're coachable, and we're just trying. It's my job to get the most out of them every single day. Teach them this offense. Teach them the nuances of what we're doing, so that by summertime, August camp next year, we're really cramming 2 years of experience into these guys so that they can play fast and hit the ground running.
yeah, and I love that piece of it. Love when we get the tight ends rolling. Remember, that first game, right? The FIU game, man, getting Zach going, early in the season felt like set the tone for what you guys were going to do throughout the year. What are some of your goals for that room as you go forward here and try to finish this spring season strong?
Well, they're doing a great job learning the offense. It's all the nuances, right? And then techniques, footwork, making the most of our opportunities in the pass game and being elite after the catch, not just catching the ball and falling down like a lot of tight ends do. But we want to be effective pass catchers, and we want to be dominant run blockers. And we get tested every day against a really good defense. It's
Sure.
going to do nothing but help us. And we challenge each other every day. So just looking for them to grow in every facet of the game and get better and get the most out of themselves and get more out of themselves than they've gotten out of themselves in the past and just keep growing every single day.
Yeah, and then just to finish up again on special teams, the way we started, with the the ability to put points on the board, right? Let's talk about the field goal operation there. Nico felt like did a nice job last year, but you're going to break in a new placeholder here with James gone. Like, what goes into the operation, and how crucial is this time period now for kind of building that foundation for what you're going to see in the fall?
Yeah, we're now doing full op reps in spring ball, but they were doing full ops as kind of we call them the battery, the snapper, holder, kicker
Right.
back in February. So it was important that when we started spring ball, that chemistry was already there, the op times were already down, the trust was there, the timing. So those mechanisms, check that box before spring ball even started. And now we just add the rest of the pieces to the puzzle. And luckily, you got some really experienced guys there. If you just look at the guys we got doing those roles,
Yeah,
they're multi-year starters, so
love it.
they have an idea of what to expect, what the mechanics of it look like, and so it's really just standard operating procedure once you get the
Yeah.
rhythm down.
What are some of the ways in which you challenge the kick teams, whether it's field goal or extra point during spring? Does coach have some unique ways to kind of putting a little bit of pressure on them to make some kicks in front of the team?
I mean, we want those guys to play confident, and
Yeah,
I think every kick there's a level of I think you want to treat it the same no matter what the
sure,
situation.
sure.
So I think the way we practice needs to be the same way they feel in the game.
Yeah.
But no, we don't surround the guys and throw water at them or anything like that. We do it like it's a game,
Yeah.
and so there'll be times where we step and fit reps, and times where we come after it.
Yeah.
But the thought process never changes, and we're not just looking to see if it goes in. We want a perfect ball every time, perfect ball flight, hit what we're aiming. And we use a lot of different things within the kicking room to challenge those guys and hold those guys accountable to hitting the best ball they can possibly hit, not just hitting a ball that's good enough.
There you go. Well, whether it's the tight ends scoring and getting themselves in the end zone, or putting the football through the uprights, or taking a return to the house, man, you guys got your hands all in it. We appreciate all you do for IU football, and can't wait to see what your units do and your tight ends do here coming up here this fall. Thanks for being with us, Coach. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Rhett.
All right, there you go. Another episode of Under the Hood with IU Football, presented by your Central Indiana Ford dealers. I'm Rhett Lewis. Thanks so much for being with us. Look forward to being back with you next week when we kind of get into game week a little bit. We'll see you then.